Hello there. Welcome to Christopher's Weekly History Topics for week 40, June 15th to the 21st. Sorry about the first 2 weeks of June. I kind of was busy with stuff, so I haven't been able to make one. But this will be for the week of June 15th to the 21st, like I said before, and it's week 40. This is going to be another election video. As you know, for those of you who watch my videos, I sometimes do election videos showing you an election of the past. And today's election past video will be on the election of 1976. Now, before we get into the actual race of the 1976 election, you have to look back into the early 1970s to understand the 1976 election. It really all goes back to Richard Nixon. Nixon, as you know, or as you probably should know, if you know American history, he was going to be impeached in 1974. Yeah, I think it's 74. During this Watergate scandal. And I already did a video on the Watergate scandal, so if you want, you can look it up on my channel. I won't get into the specifics of it, but anyway, what happened is, wiretapping, you had the Democratic base, and there was all an uproar that Nixon knew about it, and before he could be impeached, he resigned from office, and his vice president, Gerald Ford, took office as president after he resigned in 1974. After that, Ford kind of entered a weak presidency, mainly because he had even though he wasn't personally involved in the Watergate scandal, it was mainly on his shoulders the entire term of his presidency, from 74, 75, and 76. They just labeled him with corruption because, he was with Nixon. This sets up the 1976 election. Now, in 1976, there are a few key facts that you should know about the 1976 election. First is primaries. Gerald Ford wanted to run for the election, even though he was president. He wasn't elected president because he took the place of a resigned president. So he thought that he should have a term in his own right. Unfortunately, there were others who didn't like that and wanted to challenge him. One, for example, was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan at this time had just finished his second successful term as governor of California in 1976. And he thought that he could do a better job than Ford, and that Ford was weak. So Ronald Reagan challenged Ford in the primary. But of course he lost in the primary, and he came back 4 years later, of course, and won the primary. President Ford is able to secure the 1976 Republican nomination for president. Now, the Democrats, on the other hand, they pick a popular governor from Georgia, Jimmy Carter. With this, it was really the election of 1976 was really no contest, mainly because the main center focus that you have to realize about the 1976 election was Watergate was still in the minds of many Americans, and what happened with Ford, his biggest mistake was after Nixon resigned from office and Ford became president, one of his first acts was to pardon Richard Milhous Nixon. Now, this pardon that he gave to the former President Nixon was not very popular. It was not even popular amongst his own party. This really crushed the Ford administration from 1974 to 1976. And people thought of it as, not good because of what Nixon did, and they kind of really didn't trust Gerald Ford that much to have a full 4-year term in office. So anyway, Carter, sorry about that, I froze a little. So anyway, Carter campaigned, of course, and he was campaigning on this trust balance. He used the Watergate scandal to his advantage. He used Ford's pardon of Nixon to his advantage, and he was telling Americans, hey, America, I will never lie to you. Look what the Republicans are doing with Watergate, with pardoning a crook. If you elect me as your president, there will be no corruption. I will never lie to you. There will be nothing bad about my administration if you elect me. So basically what Carter did is he basically hashed the Republicans and said, if you elect me, my administration will be better than the previous administrations of Nixon and Ford. The Ford campaign, though, was they wanted him to be reelected, but they weren't as enthusiastic as the Carter campaign. It would be like, well, why not Ford? We don't have anyone else. So they just saw him as a, he's there, he's already president, so why not just keep him there? Now, election day, Carter won a very high majority, not like an overall majority, but a very high majority. The Electoral College was basically 297 to 240. Carter had 297, Ford had 240. And but here's the thing, though, about the election of 1976. The election of 1976 saw only a less than 55% voter turnout. At this time, that was basically a historical low for the nation at this time. At the time, 1976. 55% was the lowest the United States has ever had in their voter turnout at this time, 1976, as I mentioned before. So anyway, Carter did win, and anyway, I'm not going to go into the Carter administration, that's for another video, but what you're going to have to realize is, even though Carter starts out as very popular and very good, he basically goes all downhill from here. After like 1977, 1978, he really goes downhill with oil, the Iranian hostage breaks and stuff like that. But like I said, that's another video for another time. That was the 1976 election in like a nutshell.